Hi and welcome. In our first video we saw how feeling anxious is not necessarily wrong. Our body physically responds to a threat that comes our way. Now that's called our fight or flight system. However, we can end up triggering that response too often and at times, frankly, when we don't need to. And that happens when we overestimate the level of threat towards us. For example, perhaps we worry that we haven't locked the front door of the house. Even after checking it, we convince ourselves that it's not locked and we're not safe. And this thought of not being safe will trigger the thought perhaps that you're going to be attacked. And that will naturally and rightly trigger our fight or flight response because our body thinks that we're about to be attacked. But the door is locked and there's no evidence of somebody trying to attack us. Even if they did, the door is locked and we would have time to call 999 or seek to protect ourselves in some way. So that's just one example of how we might overestimate the danger to ourselves and keep triggering this fight or flight response when actually it's not needed. And when that happens, it affects our ability to enjoy life and to get ordinary things done. Sometimes though, it's not always clear what we're worrying or fearful about. So here is a principle that a certified counsellor called Ed Welch in the United States has given and which I believe is true. He suggests that we get fearful and anxious in these circumstances for only two reasons, and it's all to do with control and losing something. He suggests that we get all het up in this state when either A, we fear that we'll lose something we have, or B, we fear we won't get something that we really want. So we either fear we'll lose something we already have, or we fear we won't get something that we really want. And if you think about it, when you get into an anxious state, you will find that you will fall into one of those two categories. And this will help us to identify what it is that we're finding so scary in the situation that we're in. It helps us to wrestle with our fear. So let me give us an example. How about the fear of contracting a deadly virus? What we fear we might lose that we have is our life. Or we might be fearful we won't get something that we really want. We really want to have many more years with our friends and family. We don't want to miss out on having that, and there's a risk that we're not going to get those things and those experiences. Or you might be really anxious about losing your job as a result of this pandemic. Either because you'll lose something that you have, not just your job, but what your job means for you, your ability to earn money and to eat. Or you might not get what you really want, which is a better quality of life. Perhaps the status that your job brings you, or the respect of your family as you are able to go out and bring back the bread, as it were. Or maybe it's a promotion that you are wanting, and there's a prospect that you will lose that as you lose your job. So how do those principles help us in our battle against anxiety? Well, they are just simple questions we can ask ourselves, simple ways to help us identify the triggers for our anxiety. So those questions again, what am I fearing I will lose in this moment? Or what am I fearing I won't get? And perhaps over time there'll be a common theme that we begin to identify in our lives. Now, identifying what keeps triggering our anxiety allows us to be able to address the root of that problem. And in the next video, we're going to begin to look at this idea more. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're watching on YouTube and you've liked it and found it helpful, please like the video. Please also subscribe to our channel and you will receive notifications in future when other videos like this become available.